2/3 of the new wealth created has gone to 1% of the richest people in the world. Let that sink in. 2/3 went to 1%. And people on the right will say, but in California, the top 1% paid 49% of the income tax. Yeah, because they gained 66% more wealth. It's crazy, man. The right wing needs to get a populist where they say, no, you can't have all this wealth consolidating in a select group of people. Let's bust up the wealth, man. I don't even care at this stage. How you do it, there's no way this amount of wealth should be consolidated. Now, look, you can say all day long, well, it's because stocks, I don't care. There should not be this much wealth consolidated in a select group of people's hands. So let's read this. And then we're sending $100 billion to some freaking country to, quote, defend itself while we're giving a little bit of an increase in Social Security. Wow. Oh, but the Republicans, they care about the rich. Well, the Democrats are in charge the last 2 years. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They're all in on it. Mitch McConnell gets $1 million for the Kentucky Republican Party from Pfizer. The hell's that? Where'd Pfizer get that money? Oh, the new wealth created. It's a scam, dude. How Republicans don't see this, and they're like, oh, but if they raise the taxes on the uber wealth, they're going to come and get me. They're going to get me. Are you freaking nuts? Are you crazy? And I don't even care how you do it. Get rid of charitable deductions, turn QDI into ordinary income, long-term capital gains to ordinary income. I say if you have more than $1 million of income, no more charitable deductions. I don't like raising income tax. I don't think your income should be more than 50% of your income should go to any government entity. But with that said, I don't care at this stage. We've been suckered for a couple of years, and a certain group of people made bank while the other ones left to freaking fend for ourselves. It's nuts. Oh, they give us a stimulus. I didn't even get the stimulus check, and I'm not in the 1%. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, so here's David Greenberg over at the financialtrends.com. Big fan of this guy's channel or page here. Anti-poverty charity Oxfam released a new report Monday which revealed that over the previous 2 years, the richest 1% had accumulated nearly 2/3 of all the wealth. The report detailed that since 2020, there has been $42 trillion in new wealth created. 63% of that, $26 trillion, went directly to the pockets of the super rich, the top 1%. The report, which was released on the first day of the World Economic Forum, oh, by the way, do you know who's financing the World Economic Forum to the tune of $30 million? The Trump administration was. Friggin' Sniffy, no, Biden, friggin' Obama is only giving them $22 million. Why are we giving any money to the World Economic Forum? Our taxpayers are giving money to the World Economic Forum of $30 million. What the hell is this? Over the past 2 years, billionaires have increased their fortunes by $2.7 billion per day. It was on the heels of the decade spent accruing record wealth gains. This is all from the markets. I'm telling you, it's the freaking finance industry versus the other industries. It's Wall Street versus Main Street. The finance people. It'd be fun one of these days to do a study. Maybe one of you guys can. Denise, you're out there. See who owns the various Major League Baseball teams, football teams, hockey teams, whatnot. Basketball. I bet the vast majority of hedge fund managers or private equity managers. According to Oxfam, the 2022 wealth of billionaires soared alongside the rapidly increasing food and energy profits. The wealth of billionaires soared in 2022. Did your wealth go up? The report went on to note that 95 food and energy corporations saw their profits more than double in the previous year. Simultaneously, there are at least 1.7 billion workers who live in countries where they are seeing inflation outpace their wages. Additionally, the report noted that there are over 820 million people in the world that who are suffering from hunger and malnutrition. None of them are here in the United States, by the way, just FYI. You see these ads, 1 in 5 are suffering from food scarcity. No, they're not. While ordinary people are making daily sacrifice for food, the super rich have outdone even their wildest dreams. Just 2 years in, the decade is shaping up to be another best year for billionaires. Oh, it just happened to coincide with Sniffy Joe in office. Isn't that weird? A roaring 20s for the world's richest. Yeah. Taxing the super rich and big corporations is the door out today. So I don't know about that. I mean, look, and I'm not against that. If I want it to come from the Republican Party. It's time that we demolish the convenient myth that tax cuts for the richest result in their wealth somehow trickling down to everyone else. Well, that's not what Reagan said, you freaking idiot. The Laffer curve was everyone was paying too high of taxes. You released it. This is where the left is idiotic. This is why we need a right-wing populism. It's not that no one said trickle down economics. It's not going to trickle down. The Laffer curve, stupid fool. Look it up what it is. Laffer curve says because we have this massive amount of tax affecting everybody, we're putting a limit on productivity. Get rid of that tax, and more people will be productive, and thus generate more revenue for the federal government, which is not what we want anyway. But it made sense, 100%. But it's not tax cuts for the rich. You see how they do so tax cuts for the rich. Who's the rich? Well, in the United States, is anyone making $400,000 a year? I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about a wealthy entrepreneur. Wealthy being, they have $5 million of assets. They're making $300,000 a year of their business, $800,000 a year for 15 years. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about freaking the big guys. The big guys. Freaking so frustrating. But the Republicans won't do anything. I tell you, the easiest way in the world is to say we're going to have a wealth tax. We can do one half of 1%. If you have a net worth of more than 100 million, a wealth tax of 1.5%. But that'll make the stock market collapse. And the same people said that. I'll never forget it because I got in this issue a couple of years ago. And the same people who said that said, "Oh, then literally like the next day, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or something like that, they sold like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Amazon, or I don't even know what the hell it was, and the stock went down by a couple cents." Freaking people, man. They just the Republicans just like we've been brainwashed from the Democrats and on various things in terms of Republicans want to take away your Social Security. The Republicans aren't brainwashed on tax hikes. They're like, oh no, we can't have any tax hikes because they'll come from me. All right, let me hear your thoughts.